Greetings, my name's Guy Dauncey. This is the show Change the World here on Spotlight. And I like to invite guests on who are doing outrageously positive, visionary stuff. And today, all the way from Zug, is Arno Keinonen. Now, Arno, thanks for coming on the show, is a naval architect, marine engineer, and a pioneer in Arctic icebreaking, which is not what we're here to talk about. In 1979, Arno moved from Finland to Canada to be head of Arctic research for the Beaufort Sea oil exploration. Then in 2015, you decided to stop burning oil, bought a Nissan Leaf, then a Tesla Model S electric car, and after selling your company, you built a Harmless Home with the goal of living with a carbon footprint small enough that our one small Earth could sustain all the people on the Earth. So tell me, Arno, did that change from being a big league Arctic engineer to building a Harmless Home? What happened in your heart and your soul in that transition?
Well, I was already aware at the end of university years that the ecological future is not very good. Mm-hmm. My father warned actually Lions Club in Europe that the humans have probably till about 2000 to start to fix it.
Wow.
So it was in the back of my brain.
Very early education then.
Very early education, but I wasn't ready to be educated.
Right.
So when I then ended up working in the Arctic and saw the Arctic ice melt, 40% of the Arctic ice disappeared through my 45 years of career.
Oh my goodness, so while you're up in the Arctic, you're seeing it melt in front of you.
I seen it melt in front of me. And I've been a couple of years in Siberia, North Pole, Antarctica, seen everything, everywhere the same is happening.
Yes.
So that started to really concern me and worry me.
Yes.
So then when I was fortunate enough that I could sell my company, I had enough money, I said, okay, let's get rid of burning any oil.
Right.
Because I knew that was one of the causes of eco.
And you've been working indirectly with an oil company before that, right?
Well, directly.
Directly, yes.
So most of the income came from oil, so I said, let's spend the money to get rid of it.
Right, okay. And so your first step was the car, right?
First step was actually Solar Colwood started about maybe about 2007.
Well, I was involved with the BC Sustainable Energy Association, and we ran a solar program, and then Solar Colwood picked up on what we were doing, yes.
Yes, so that was the first time that I said, okay, now there's initiatives to start to do solar panels and electric cars.
So what we're going to talk about on this show is the incredible house that Arno has built and the method he has of building it. So let's just, and then we can come back to talking about some of the bigger ideas.
Yeah.
So let's go to the first slide of the house and see what we got here. And you'll see in front of the cameras already these strange, mysterious blocks. Now you've got a picture of the house. What are these building blocks you're using?
These are called Eco-Lego blocks.
Eco-Lego blocks, I love it.
They actually look like Lego blocks.
You're not Danish though, you're Finnish, right?
No, no, I'm Finnish, but the inventor is not Finnish.
Yes, right.
He's from Calgary. But the Lego blocks are actually, they stack exactly like Lego. So every child knows how to build with them.
Yes, totally, you clip them together.
Yeah.
Can we have the camera focus down on the blocks close up right in front of us here? And get a close-up look at these things, because we got two in the studio. And what are they made from?
This, there's two parts to this. There's the structural frame, which is a green one here.
Yes.
And that is a very strong secret compound, which is actually stronger than steel.
Stronger than steel?
And it goes straight through the block.
Yes.
And then there's the big mass, which is
that's good.
Hemp hurd. Hemp hurd and lime and water.
So the actual fiber in it is hemp?
Hemp, yes. Actual fiber
as in marijuana hemp, but not the drug kind, right?
Yeah, not that part.
Yes, it's the hemp crop.
It's
mixed
kind
with
of the
lime and plaster to make it solid, right?
It is the waste part that has no other use.
Waste.
So the hemp hurd is the stalk of the...
So there we can see it on the floor again now.
So the hemp hurd, lime water are blended together and compacted in the mold.
Right.
And that's how the blocks look like.
And remarkably, these are not actually very heavy.
They are about 30 pounds.
Yeah, 30 pounds. They're not like 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And you have the holes in the middle for, is that for more...
vertical holes straight from
rebar?
The top to the... No, that's for electric wiring.
Oh, electric wiring.
There's no need for rebar here.
Because the green...
The strength is in the green.
Really?
The global strength is in the green.
Okay.
And the local...
So how are these in terms of energy efficiency for a house?
Well, nobody knew what their efficiency would be before our house was built, because ours was the first ever.
The first on the planet.
Yes. So
here on Spotlight, the first on the planet.
the inventor say that it provides a high R value because it is quite.
So have you measured the R value yet?
The R value is being measured. It varies between 20 and 40 depending on conditions very much.
So for those who are in geeky, if you have an R2000 house or a super efficient house, what's the R value expected for a super efficient house?
I don't know what is a super efficient house.
Well, okay, in the old technologies.
I think the rules are that you should have R20.
Yeah.
But not much more than that is expected. Actually.
And is there another, this is a leading question, carbon dioxide. Cement normally releases carbon dioxide. Is this absorbing carbon dioxide?
This is carbon negative in construction already.
Right.
The biofiber company that invented this has a certificate of carbon negative construction company.
Well, obviously the hemp has grown, has absorbed carbon from the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, and locked it in carbon. So
the house locks into these blocks a lot of CO2.
Yeah, but the same was true of timber.
Same is to a degree through the timber. But the other thing is that when it actually cures, it could take 50 to 100 years to cure the lime. Right. And that absorbs another 25 to 50 tons of CO2 from the air.
So this gets geeky, but when you use concrete, it emits carbon dioxide. And this absorbs carbon dioxide over the life.
Yes.
And it gets harder and harder during that time?
Yes, it becomes practically limestone.
That's amazing, right?
When it's brand new, the block, it's not nearly as hard as it is in a year.
Right.
So you can put nail in and pull it out with fingers. You can, after a year, you have to have a good hammer to hammer things in.
What does the building inspector and the building code say about this?
Well, the building inspectors, the one that we had, Mike Matlow from
down in Souk.
CRD, Capital Regional District, just north of Souk. Asked lots of questions to start with, but it is the engineer and the measurements of the blocks that actually prove that it is a solid, good solution.
Let's have the next slide from the way these are fitting into the house then, because this is part of the Harmless Home, you call it. So here's your, looks like finished house here, right?
Yeah, that is pretty close to being finished. The outside exterior, you can see the blocks are coated with the lime stucco.
Okay, so they're invisible, they're just hidden inside the house.
Yes.
So it looks like a completely normal, super expensive house with a fabulous view.
Yes, our idea was to build an upscale house which actually outperforms existing houses.
Fantastic.
And which doesn't compromise any of the kind of qualities of life that we are used to.
Right. Let's go to the next image as well of the house and stay with the sequence on the house. So there's during the building process.
Yes, you see there's a lower level wall finished there.
Right.
And then the upper level is.
So those are the blocks all just put together.
Yes, blocks put together.
And the next slide. The next one. There you are. That shows the view you've got. Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's sitting on the ridge at the end of East Souk Park.
So the lower right, underneath the green window, is that the same blocks or is that actually concrete? For foundation?
Down below, it's ICF. The foundation is insulated concrete form.
Okay, yeah. So the next slide. You get a global tour now.
Here's you see solar panels. The whole idea was that we create more energy than we consume.
Right.
And we indeed have 15.6 kilowatt solar panels.
So to put that in context, a normal house in a suburb would have 4 kilowatts, right?
I don't know.
Well, I do. It's 4 times more than a normal house.
Yeah, this is. It creates about 20 megawatt hours per year.
And 20,000 kilowatt hours. That's the average house in British Columbia uses 10,000 kilowatt hours.
This actually uses less than 10,000 for the house,
but
because the blocks are highly so then the other 20, we thought that 10,000 would be for the house and the rest for the 2 cars, electric cars. It turns out that the electric cars use maybe 3 to 4 megawatt hours per year per car.
Right.
So there's quite a bit left over.
That's 3,000, 4,000 kilowatt hours.
Yes.
Let's have the next photo up too to give a context to this whole thing. It's just as fascinating. You've built this. So electricals?
Yes. Now, of course, one other thing is that when BC Hydro is out, it tends to be quite a bit out in those remote areas.
Power outages.
Power outages, yes. Then we have installed Tesla power walls.
So the house is on the grid?
The house is on the grid.
Okay, and then your solar's putting it back into the grid and then...
Yeah, it's a net metering, so that when you produce more than consume, the meter goes one way.
So how much, your Tesla battery there, how many hours of energy do you store in that when you have a power outage?
It's difficult to calculate in hours. It is, we have backed up all the essential loads, except for heating. For heating we have a wood stove if we need it.
Yeah.
But so that can run with solar panel and Tesla power wall. It can run practically indefinitely.
Really?
Freezer and fridge and lights.
I know this is getting technical, but when you have a power outage, your solar panels, they normally would put energy into the grid. Do they revert to putting energy straight into the house or not?
They put energy straight to the power walls.
Okay.
Or to the house.
Okay. Let's have the next image up. More technical stuff. You are an engineer after all.
Well, I am, yes. This is our water system. It must be one of the more complex because we have...
complex is a good word for it,
We have a own well.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's quite a low production.
So you've got a filter on the well.
But then we have also rainwater collection. So
right, so you've got various filters here, I can see.
As 2 filters. We can choose whether we use rain or...
How much water are you getting of your annual load from the rainwater versus from your well?
I don't know about annual, but our tank is about 10,000 gallons total.
Okay.
In 3 tanks, well tank and 2 rainwater tanks.
Right, okay. And with a roof that size, they're going to fill up over the winter?
Yes, they fill
You just had a
quickly.
winter, right?
Yes.
Are they full?
They're full.
They're full, right. The next image. Wait a second for the... Did you do all the plumbing? You had an electrician, you had a plumber and an electrician.
We had a contractor. I was never a contractor.
No, right. Well, that's right, yes. Right.
We had a contractor who built us the house.
Yeah. So the whole project is called the Harmless Home.
Yes, because
what other dimensions of it are harmless in that sense?
Well,
0 emissions of greenhouse gases.
There was quite a few criteria that I set to it.
Yes.
One was the energy efficiency.
Yes.
So that we produce more than consume.
Right.
One was that we are self-sufficient in terms of all the services that we can be.
Yes.
Of course, we can't create our own cell phone or digital network, so we have wiring for that. But we have all water, and also the other thing is non-toxic.
Yes.
And low electromagnetic radiation as well.
So non-toxic in terms of paints and varnishes and finishes and all that stuff?
Especially the formaldehyde, which is quite high from some materials.
It is, yeah, it's
and
true.
Some of the paints we avoided.
Was it a lot of hard work to find paints that have got no off-gassing?
No, it's not hard work to find paint, but it's so that it produces a kind of result you like. It may be more difficult because it looks like the more toxic paints have more variety.
Oh, the color range.
In today's world. Especially.
That makes me think, when you go back to the Middle Ages and before there were any modern dyes, everyone wore earth colours.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the modern dyes that give you bright red like this and bright purple like your shirt.
Yeah.
How do what's your experience with electric cars?
Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, having driven one, there's no way going back.
You've got the Tesla and the Nissan Leaf?
Actually, you saw the
I saw the 2 cars, yes.
Yes, there are 2 Teslas.
Oh, both Teslas?
So we sold the Leaf after 5 years of its use and got the Model 3 Tesla.
What is the range on the 2 Teslas? You got the Model 3 and the Model S?
Yes. Okay. Model S we had 5 years and it about 440 kilometer range.
Wow.
And Model 3 is 523 kilometer range.
Goodness. So you've got 0 worries about distance and traveling and anything like that.
Absolutely, and of course, to me, one of the keys is the flexibility that we can charge in the garage. It's just a few seconds to plug it to the charger,
Yeah.
And then unplug it.
And how many children do you have?
We have none anymore at home.
Hmm?
We had 2 + 2, but none of them
They've
are
left.
at home.
Have they been to visit your home?
Of course.
And what do they think? Has Dad gone crazy?
Initially, when they heard that we are going to build a house, they thought I'm crazy. I've been called crazy many times.
Well, yes, can be good, right?
Including that the inventor who invented these blocks.
What's his name?
Mac Radford.
Yes.
He'd been asking me a few times over, how on earth did I choose these that nothing was known about it?
Well, was it through... I know Jack Anderson's a friend of mine who is your designer on the house.
Jack Anderson.
And Jack Anderson knew about these hempcrete blocks.
He was the one who found out about them, yes.
Right.
But I had to then decide.
So you're the guinea pig, you're the pioneer.
I'm
all this stuff.
It runs in my blood. I've been pioneer all my career.
And so the numbers are yet to come in for a full year of energy use inside the house?
Yes, that still remains to be seen, but all the indications are it performs better
so
than
how are you
anticipated.
heating? You mentioned the wood stove for backup.
Yes.
How are you otherwise heating the house in winter?
It's a heat pump, air-to-air heat pump.
The whole house one?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's not a full, complete passive home that doesn't need any heat at all?
No, it's... we didn't go after any criteria of passive or any lead or anything.
Okay.
We said, let's get the one that we can have best eco performance.
Right, but a heat pump is using electricity anyway, and the electricity is coming from your roof.
It's our own.
It's all a circular system.
Yes.
And I often have this joke with people, because a lot of people don't know what a heat pump is or how it works.
Yes.
You're an engineer, so you can explain to people how a heat pump works.
Well, essentially, it extracts whatever heat is in the air and it sends that heat to the inside the house.
So if the heat in the air is heated by the sun, is it fair to say that it's a solar heat pump?
Yeah, solar heating is...
but the air outside is heated by the sun. You're taking solar heated air.
Yes, well, the air is heated by nature itself in
by the sun.
Way. Yes.
By the sun.
Yeah.
I have this joke with people because people do get confused on what a heat pump is. Mm-hmm. There's a company called Train, and they advertise like nothing beats a train. Mm-hmm. And I'll sometimes ask friends, do you have a clue what they're advertising? And they say, I haven't a clue what it is. They just don't understand heat pumps. So calling it a solar heat pump makes the connection with the heat in the air, which is then sucked out and brought into the house.
Yeah, it's a heat exchange system essentially.
Yeah. And how does you have a wife, partner?
Yes, my wife Linda.
How does she take to all this?
She's been a bit overwhelmed about the whole project. It took way longer than we anticipated.
These things do, yeah.
But once it's done, she's very happy because that house is her canvas. She's an artist.
Oh, right.
So all the...
An artist, like she's literally painting, so...
Yes. So I mean the external and internal appearance of the house, that's her department, really.
So let's you and me talk about, the big picture. You've role modeled how future buildings can be completely carbon neutral or zero carbon. The BC government has set a rule that by 2032 every new house must be zero net carbon. Mm-hmm. Do you think people will pick up on this technology? Or they'll go other ways? How do you think it's going to happen?
It's in my mind, if one starts to use this sort of solution that actually absorbs CO2, it becomes actually a way more eco-efficient than any other solution I've seen.
How does the cost of these blocks compare to, say, a timber frame house with insulation?
Well, initially, the cost for the biofiber company was quite high for this first house because they were learning.
Yeah, right.
And I had to pay some extra too, but not much.
Yes.
But now, next house took only 1/3 of the time to build the exterior walls again.
Oh, so you're saving on labor.
It's lots of saving on labor.
Because it's Lego.
Yes, but it's not the wall building itself.
Yes.
It's how you tie it to the rest of the house. How you tie it to the floor foundation, to the floor, to the exterior doors, windows.
So can you nail into this with a door frame? It's rock hard. So how do you tie a door frame or a window frame to that?
Actually, it's a bit beyond the scope of this one, but it's very simple technical solutions. There's a frame that goes around,
right.
which is made out of the same material as this.
Yes.
Around every window and door in the next house, not in ours.
Okay.
Yet. But you saw some picture where you saw wooden frames inside the windows.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So those are just those are nailed in or screwed in actually.
Okay, right. And so the new houses have a special framing system for them.
Yes, which doesn't contain any wood. It's the same material as the
so
frame in the
So you're saving
block.
on labour costs enormously in terms of the
big part.
the time to put the walls up.
Yes.
And obviously a pioneer is paying more for any technology. Mm-hmm. When this becomes a mature technology and they're rolling out hundreds of these things, thousands of these things, how is the cost likely to compare to timber framing, do you know? Given the cost of timber and the carpenters?
It's at the purchase level, I think this might be somewhat more than the regular timber frame.
Right.
But it wins it on every other account.
Because you're paying a third of the wages.
This is only one layer. There's no vapor barrier. You plaster inside and outside, and that's it.
Okay. And the cables go straight down through the middle, so that's
wires, electric wiring goes
conduits
there.
for them and stuff like that additionally to that.
So this is quite simple, but the key is that this has expectancy of life is 500 years or perhaps
500
more.
years.
So which is about 10 times more than a timber frame.
So you're building a heritage house.
Well, call it heritage.
It will become a heritage.
I plan to stick around for maybe 400 years to check it out. Not really, but the whole point is that reduces the eco footprint because you don't need to build and actually even the maintenance is very simple. It's just the surface finishing, a refinishing surface.
That's impressive. This is a very new technology, this is.
In today's world, the houses are built for very short lifetime.
I know, yeah.
And they are mostly based on the price of the purchase and the immediate operating cost. It very, very rarely takes into account.
Do you still have colleagues in engineering and naval architecture and that sort of stuff?
Yes, I don't think the naval architects are too much thinking about it.
You have engineering colleagues though? Do you tell them what do they think of what you're doing?
They are very impressed actually.
Good.
But of course, very few. To me, there's lots of people who like what they're doing.
Yes.
But there's very few who are prepared to do something.
Yes. Are you getting a proper video footage of the filming of the house so you can put a half-hour YouTube video together, more than just talking in this way, to show the building as it's made?
Well, it's the process itself. It's a training process. But in terms of people who want to consider this kind of house, yes, there will be a video series coming out.
Right. Whoa, so now when you think about the climate crisis and the ecological crisis, what goes on in your brain and in your heart and in your soul?
Well, this house exceeded our expectations so much that I was nearly blown away when I started calculating our eco footprint or carbon footprint.
Yes.
We said that it actually now is at the level that everyone on this earth can have.
Right.
So I said, that can't be true.
Because the ecological footprint concept basically is showing that if everyone lived at the scale of Canadians, we need 3 planets or something like that?
No, at least 4.
4 planets to live at our lifestyle because of the energy we use and all the materials and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus the fact that if this house lasts 500 years and a normal house lasts 100 years, you're just having to use more materials. You have to build 5 houses in the time.
Yep.
And this is not going to rot or anything then, is it?
Yes. No, it doesn't rot. It's mold-proof.
Mold-proof.
Fireproof. It's got the highest fire rating of any 2-hour fire rating.
That's a huge bonus with all the forest fire crisis going on.
Yes, it's highly unlikely that this house ever will.
But your roof is still timber though. What's your roofing material?
It's the trusses are timber.
Yes.
But those will be also. I mean, this is the first pioneer.
Yes.
Next ones will be even more eco.
And what's your actual roofing material on top of it?
It's metal roof.
Metal roof.
Yes.
So there's no sparks getting caught. That just is the best as well. And that's of course for clean rainwater.
Yes.
Capture as well.
Yes, indeed.
So, but back to that question though, when you tune into the bigger global, do you think we're moving fast enough? I feel that we're in some sort of a crisis turnaround. People are beginning to realize this really is serious.
Yeah. My hunch is that we are closer to a real tipping point than people believe generally.
That's what I hope.
Yeah, I hope I'm right too. I
mean, the fact that the 16-year-olds, the teenagers, are going on strike because you and I were getting past our prime. But the 16-year-olds, they're looking at their whole life and they're looking at the climate crisis data and they're saying, oh my God, this is something really serious, right?
Yeah.
And we can't expect 16-year-olds to come up with all the solutions. Our generation needs to be working on the technical details of how we do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even beyond this, now it's about our lifestyle.
Okay. What about?
Like driving the electric cars.
Okay, so what about the food you eat, for instance?
And yes, we have a greenhouse room in the house where we grow our own food.
Yes. There's actually some images of the house we're missing. We haven't come up yet. Last 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see if we can get those last images up of the interior of the house. We haven't seen that yet.
Yes, and you haven't seen. We have also quite good septic system that only sends clean water to the nature.
Okay,
it's not the regular septic.
So how are you? 15% of the cause of the climate crisis is actually industrial meat. Are you able to cut back on meat?
Yes, we have cut back on meat that we actually eat.
Yes.
And eat more the smaller animals like chicken and etc.
And do you have the schools in the Souk schools coming to visit what you're doing and see?
There's been hundreds of people visiting our home. Souk, Transition Souk's an
organization.
Yes, they have arranged these eco house tours, and they've been send people coming all over the place.
And people are impressed?
Yes, generally very impressed. And
have you? You're not finally finished yet, right?
Well, the house itself is finished, but the exterior still has. Are you
going to have a formal launch day when the mayor of Souk comes and the head of the CRD? And seriously, are you going to launch the house? Get yourselves on the front page of the Times Colonist and the Globe and Mail.
We hadn't thought about that sort of thing, but maybe that's a good idea.
I work in media and we've got a minute left, so this is my final message to you.
Okay.
Don't hide your hempcrete blocks under a... I'm getting tied up with the phrase from the Bible is. You've got to, let people know what you're doing, do a launch, invite the media, get Chick 6 News, get the Times Colonist, get Spotlight, tell the Globe and Mail, and be proud of what you've done. And smile, because this is fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
You're being a leader. So look, let me applaud you. You're being a leader in innovating this stuff. You're putting your money in, you're putting effort in, you're doing something really important here, and that we want to share it with the whole world. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Guy. Thanks for inviting me in.
My guest on this show has been Arno Keinonen, who's a naval architect from Finland, living in Canada, building harmless homes and pioneering this new technology. This show, one of my little contributions to the show is a novel. I don't build houses, I write books and do TV shows called Journey to the Future, A Better World is Possible. It's a novel set in the year 2032, when a lot of new ideas have been put into practice to show that we can change the world. And if you want to find out on more changing the world, tune into the show next week, and thanks for watching.